4. So hope you all are fine. So today we are going to continue with the same chapter, that is chapter 4, and the topic is adaptation in animals. And last class we have learned about by the term what it mean by habitats and adaptation, and why adaptation is important in animals. With the continuation of the topic of the chapter that we have today is adaptation to different habitats. So we have already discussed about the types of habitats. First of all, we have got animals that living on the land, that is terrestrial animal living on the both land and water is known as amphibians, and animals living in water is known as aquatic animals, and those animals which can fly is known as aerial animals. So today, with the continuation of the same the topic, that is adaptation to the different habitats. First of all, we are going to discuss with the adaptation in terrestrial animals, and we already know the term terrestrial animals are animals that live on land, and we also have an idea that by saying the animal living on land, we already know that they differ, or the way they adapt or they live on the land differ region to region. Likewise, let us start with especially the animals that are found on the land. Okay, what are the main features for the adaptation is, first of all, is they have well developed body and sense organs. And for the examples, there are plenty of examples. Any animals from wild to domestic animals that lives on the land, what they have a good sense organ, and they have a well developed body in order to protect themselves, or in order to sense the change in the environment, as you can see in them. And likewise, there are also animals under the category of terrestrial animal. Some animals they live on trees, okay, and they are known as arboreal animals. And what are the features they have here is, they have the sharp claws and they have the tails. Okay, with the help of these sharp claws and tail, they have adapted themselves in order to help themselves to climb on the trees. Likewise, when I talk about a land animal that lives on the land, there are many animals with the 4 legs. Okay, with the 4 legs, they walk, they jump, they run, they crawl, they jump. Okay, in order to search food, in order to protect themselves. Okay. Likewise, there are some animals or creatures where they don't have 4 legs. For example, of snakes, they don't have legs, so they have to crawl with the help of the scales on their body. They have to crawl on the ground. And some animals, some terrestrial animals that lives in the desert, what they have a feature in order to adapt themselves to sustain in the desert, what they have is, they have a thick skin along with a thick outer covering in order to protect themselves from the from the heat. Okay, and for example of the camel, and you already know that camel is known as a sheep of desert, because only the animal like camel can survive in the desert. Such a prickly heat, as we describe of the desert, no? As I describe the desert, we already have a picture of the desert, how extreme heat is there. So this type of animals survive in the desert. They have a thick skin along with a thick outer covering, not only to protect from the heat, it also It also this one. It also protects from the losing of water, from the loss of water from the skin. And yes, and for the example of camel stores food in their hump, food and water in their hump. And it is said that camel, once it can drink a lots of water, which can be used, or after drinking such an amount of water, camel need not to drink for many months. Okay, and the next feature that the camel has that is, it has got a broad, flat, leathery pad in their hooves, in the legs, in the hooves. With the help of that, it does not sink on the desert. So these are the features of the animal that live in the desert, which help them to survive in the desert. Likewise, as I've already said, that the terrestrial animals living, they have adapted such a features, but it depends on region to region. As we have talked about land, tree, an animal living in a tree, animal living in the desert, and some of the animals, such like lizards, snail. What they do is they cannot sustain in a very extreme heat during the summer. They go for a summer sleep, and the term that is used here is known as estivation. Estivation is a summer sleep. Some of the animals who cannot sustain, who become inactive during the very hot summer days, so they go for estivation. And some of the animals living in the cold region, such as a polar bear. Okay, polar bear. Polar bear? What they do is, even a yak also, they have got a very thick fur which protects them from the extreme cold. Likewise, some animals like seal, penguins, what they have got under the skin, they store lots of fats, which is known as bubbler. Okay, bubbler, B-L-U-B-B-E-R, blubber. Okay, which is known as blubber, and with the help of that, it protects from the extreme cold. And during the extreme winter, okay, what they do is they use that fat as an energy. So these are the very different type of the ways of adaptation that the animals have already taken in order to survive from the different types of challenges in their region or the place or the habitats they live. Likewise, some animals like bear, even the snakes, ground squirrel, what they do is they become very inactive during the winter. So what they do is they go for winter sleep, and the term that is used is known as hibernation. Okay, for the winter sleep it is known as hibernation, and we have already learned so many stories about it, isn't it? During the summer, this type of animals, they eat or they store lots of food in their body as a fats, and in the winter they go for a long sleep. Likewise, some animals have a quality to blend themselves or to blend their color into a surrounding or the place that they live. Such like chameleon, polar bear. Okay, this animal has got a quality or tendency to change themselves into the nature, in order to blend themselves into the nature. That is the term that here it is known as camouflaging. Okay, it changes its color as to protect them from the animals or from the danger. So it is known as camouflaging or camouflage. And along with that, some animals like porcupine, they protect them. They have got spines in order to protect themselves from the danger or from the enemies. And as for in the case of snails, also they have got a hard covering outside, so they can protect themselves whenever they feel they sense danger or whenever from the enemies. So these are the adaptation that the terrestrial animals have got, or they have adapted the qualities. So likewise, we are going to discuss the various adaptation of different animals with the different habitats. Okay, in the next class. So you go to this topic that is on page number 21. Go through it, and the remaining we are going to do in the next class. Till then, take care. Thank you.